I want you to imagine the sound of a ticking clock. Tick, tick, tick. You are sitting across from someone. Maybe it is a date you really like. Maybe it is a boss you are trying to impress. Maybe it is your father-in-law. You just finished a sentence. They nodded. And now, nothing. The air leaves the room. Your heart rate spikes. You look at your hands. You look at the wall. Your brain starts screaming, "Say something, anything, just make noise." But you can't. You are frozen. That is the awkward silence. It is the social equivalent of drowning. And today, we are going to fix it. Not by memorizing 100 pickup lines or conversation starters, but by understanding the psychology of why we freeze and learning how to rewire your brain so that you never fear that silence again. Welcome to the end of awkwardness. First, we need to destroy a myth. We need to talk about what is actually happening in your brain during those 3 or 4 seconds of silence. Most people think the problem is that their mind goes blank. You think, "I have nothing to say." But that is a lie. Psychologists have found that your mind is never actually blank. Even in the deepest silence, your brain is firing. The problem isn't a lack of thoughts. The problem is a surplus of filters. I call this the perfectionist filter. Here is the scenario. You are in that silence. A thought pops into your head. Maybe you notice the other person has a blue shirt. But your internal filter says, "That's boring. Don't say that." Then you think about how you need to do laundry. Filter says, "Too Monday. Don't say that." Then you think about a weird video you saw on TikTok. Filter says, "You're too weird. They'll judge you." You are rejecting your own thoughts before they even reach your mouth. You are waiting for the perfect thing to say, the smartest, funniest, most charming sentence. And while you are waiting for perfection, you are giving them silence. So, step 1 to avoiding awkward silences permanently is this. You must lower the bar. You have to be willing to be boring. The most charismatic people in the world are masters of the mundane. They don't wait for a profound philosophical thought. They just verbalize what is in front of them. This leads us to the first actionable technique. I call it narrating the environment. When the conversation dies, stop looking inside your head for content. Look outside. Look at the world around you. If you are at a coffee shop and the silence hits, look at the table. I actually really like these heavy mugs. They feel significant. That is a boring sentence. But it breaks the silence. And it invites a response. Yeah, I hate when places give you paper cups. Boom, you are back in flow. Look at the music. Is this 80s jazz? It's kind of a weird vibe for a Tuesday morning. Look at the people. That guy over there looks exactly like someone famous, but I can't place it. The environment is an infinite content generator. It is always there. When you stop trying to be interesting and just start being observant, the pressure disappears. But let's say you are in a white room with nothing on the walls. No environment to comment on. What then? We move to technique number 2, associative thinking. Conversation is just a game of word association. Linear thinkers get stuck because they stay on one track. Let's say you were talking about apples. A linear thinker stays on apples. Do you like apples? Yes. Me too. Silence. An associative thinker sees apples and their brain explodes into a web. Apples leads to New York City, the Big Apple. Apples leads to computers, MacBooks. Apples leads to doctors, an apple a day. Apples leads to pie, which leads to Thanksgiving, which leads to family drama. You can practice this alone. I want you to look around your room right now. Pick one object. Let's say a lamp. Now, in 5 seconds, I want you to say 5 words associated with a lamp. Light, sun, tanning, beach, vacation. Suddenly, you aren't talking about a lamp. You are talking about your last vacation to Mexico. This is how you never run out of things to say. You take the last word the other person said, and you treat it like a trampoline. You don't have to stay on topic. You just have to stay connected. If they say, "I just got back from the gym," don't just say, "Good job." Use association.gym arrow, energy arrow, morning routine. I wish I was a morning person. Are you one of those people who wakes up at 5 a.m. without an alarm? Now, let's talk about the nuclear option. The technique you use when things are really, really bad. Let's say the silence has been going on for 5 seconds. It is thick. It is uncomfortable. You can feel the tension physically. The best way to kill the awkwardness is to acknowledge it. I call this breaking the fourth wall. In movies, the fourth wall is the screen. When a character looks at the camera and talks to the audience, they are breaking the reality. In conversation, the reality is that we are both pretending this silence isn't happening. We are both pretending to be cool. So, you shatter that illusion. You simply say, "Wow, I just totally blanked on what I was going to say. My brain just went into screensaver mode." Or you smile and say, "I'm not going to lie. I got a little nervous just now. I promise I'm usually much cooler than this." Do you know what happens when you do that? The other person laughs. They exhale because they were feeling it too. By admitting the awkwardness, you take the power away from it. You are showing that you are confident enough to be imperfect. Vulnerability is the ultimate icebreaker. It shows you are human. But there is a deeper level to this, and this is the mindset shift that changed my life. We need to redefine what silence means. Why is silence awkward? It is only awkward because you think it means you are failing. You think it means the connection is broken. But silence is actually a sign of intimacy. Think about your best friend or a sibling. You can sit in a car with them for 30 minutes, not say a single word, and it isn't awkward. It is peaceful. Why? Because you trust the connection. You don't feel the need to perform. When you are with a stranger, the silence is awkward because you are insecure about the connection. So, I want you to try something radical. The next time a silence hits, instead of panicking, instead of rushing to fill it with noise, just stay in it. Maintain eye contact. Smile a little bit. Take a sip of your drink. Project an energy that says, "I am comfortable right now. I don't need to entertain you to be worthy of your time." If you can be comfortable in the silence, the other person will unknowingly follow your lead. If you don't panic, they won't panic. You become the emotional anchor of the interaction. There is a powerful negotiation tactic used by CEOs and high-level dealmakers. It is called the pregnant pause. They will make a statement, and then they will stop talking. They will wait. They know that the person who talks first loses. Most people are so terrified of the silence that they will start babbling, giving away information, or lowering their price just to fill the void. Don't be the person who babbles. Be the person who is comfortable in the pause. So, let's recap the toolkit. 1. Kill the filter. Stop trying to be smart. Be willing to be boring. Say the obvious thing. 2. Narrate the environment. Use the room, the noise, the people around you as free conversation fuel. 3. Associative thinking. Use the last word they said as a springboard to a new topic. Apple, New York, travel. 4. Break the fourth wall. If it gets too weird, call it out. Well, that was a meditative pause. Make a joke of it. And 5. Reframe the silence. Realize that silence is not a failure. It is a moment to breathe. It is a moment of confidence. I want you to try this today. I want you to go out into the world, get into a conversation, and let a silence happen. Don't rush to fix it. Count to 3 in your head. 1.2.3. Notice that the world didn't end. Notice that they didn't run away. Then, look around, find something simple, and just say it. The goal of conversation isn't to be a non-stop radio broadcast. It is to connect with another human being. And sometimes, the most powerful connection happens in the spaces between the words. Stop running from the silence. Own it.